Hi, Mark here, I trust you're well. Welcome to a recording of a live Lightroom and Lightroom Classic skills and support session that I hosted on the 20th of November 2025. This was part one of a 3-week community session where the narrative was about your importing workflow, importing with your end goals. So when we import, how can we make things faster for us, quicker for us, finding our images? The follow-up meetings were all about collections, how we can find our images from the cloud, but also other devices. So using Classic on import, the right tools and the skills to complete our digital asset management at time of import. Then if we wanted to share them and use them on our mobile devices. So I hope this recording is of help to you. If you'd like to come and join live, just visit lightroommark.com. You'll see all my upcoming events, and we have lots of different narratives, from Lightroom Classic syncing with the cloud, to IPTC data, to EXIF data, to print module, web module, a whole plethora of narratives, even practical sessions in the field of photography, focus stacking, HDR, panoramic, how we can capture those in the field and how we process them in Classic or Lightroom with other apps. We're looking at silver effects as well. Lots of different things. Just visit lightroommark.com. I hope you enjoy the video. So without any further ado, let's jump across to the recording. Happy photography. Good evening, everybody. Again, apologies for my human error last week. We should have been talking about importing, but when I looked at my notes, I looked at the wrong day, and then I thought, oh, it's Wednesday. No, it's not. So I totally messed up. So I am totally sorry.
It was a great session. I mean, I think we covered a lot of ground in the last session. So it
Well,
was actually good.
my father, when he was alive, he said, you really try hard to do things right. He said, but when you mess up big time. And that's totally true. Totally true. So, I put so much effort. And I've got another philosophy where if it looks right, it usually is right. If it looks, you step back and look at a picture or hanging it up and so on. And if it looks right, it normally is right. But there we go. Right. Good evening, everybody. We are this week going to physically look at importing images into Classic. I truly believe for my sins that if you understand the import dialog and understand where you want to get to with your digital asset management, so where and how you're going to file your images, how you're going to look for your images, you can do 95% of your management, of your filing structure, of your organization in the import dialog. So a lot of it is planning ahead, understanding where you need to get to or want to get to. And I've learned over the years of using Classic and talking to us here, and having these conversations with different people is understanding what you can do. Oh, I didn't know I could do that. I didn't know, because you don't understand where you want to get to, where you could get to, or how you could get there. So tonight we're going to do this over 3 weeks, I think this is. We're going to be looking at importing. So I've got some files on this computer, and we're going to import them with the workflow that I use. But I will show you the tools, what they do, and why I use them, and the particular way that I import, and explain that. And the reason for that is, you can take the concept. I don't mind. I'm here to share it with you and so on. But it's to provoke you to think about, oh, I could use that, and I'm not interested in that bit, but I could use that bit. I could modify it, and I could use that bit of the workflow. Okay. So next week we're going to look at once we've imported the collection side of importing. Okay, so getting it in and then the immediacy of finding it. So you see the input bit and then you see the result bit. And then the week after, we're going to look at cloud. So how we import and automatically find them and sync them to our devices. So that's the next 2 weeks. So let's have a go at this from lovely dark harbour out there. All the boats. Can you hear the ting 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 of all the cables of all the boats and everything? It was great this morning watching the fishermen come in. Right, okay. So bottom left-hand corner, import dialog. If I move this slightly, which I can't do, yes I can. Down in the bottom corner, you'll see there's this little point down triangle. If you expand it, there's probably a green, oh, there isn't on your screen, but there is on mine. This is the slim version. This is the minimized version of the import dialog. And I very rarely use this. This is when you've got a preset set up, and we'll look at presets. And it's just a quick click, click, done. So import module. We went through everything. So this is the source where it's coming from. Okay, so I'm going to go to a location. So let's go click. I can click on source up here and I can go and find a particular location. Okay, and it will look for the images. So I'm going to go photography. These are drives. So this is my drive in the computer. This is an external 4 terabyte Thunderbolt 5 SSD drive. So I'm just going to go here, I'm going to go to training, and I've got some files here that I took a long time ago when I was down in Portsmouth Way looking at some doing some research for a university paper, and it's a anti-aircraft gun emplacement near Portsmouth. So these are the images that I've taken. So you can see this is the location. This is what the images are. This is how I'm going to import them. So what mechanics am I going to use? Am I going to copy them? I'm going to move them. I'm going to add them. Okay. Most times it would be copy because you want to leave them on the original source just in case something goes wrong. So it copies them, or copy them as a DNG. So what's the difference? DNG is the digital negative. It's Adobe's own raw format, and copy will leave it in the format that it's come in. So it will come in this HEIC format. I convert most of mine to DNG when I import into Lightroom. So this is what I'm going to import. Okay, which I'm not going to import all of them, and I'm going to talk about that in a second. And then we've got, how are we going to handle the file? So I've got preview. What is the size of my preview? Okay, so we have minimized preview. And again, when you look at the image on the screen, excluding the develop module, it's a preview. So if you've got a big, large monitor, 32-inch monitor, you want a large preview because you don't want it pixelated. Now, my workflow, because I've got a lot of storage space, etc., I have one-to-one previews. What does that mean? Is the size of the preview is the size of the file, but it takes up a lot of storage space. Okay. I think I was showing somebody Sunday, I think my previews are 170 gigabytes, and that's just these previews. And my smart previews were 270 gigabytes, but my catalog was only 5 gigabytes with 500,000 images in there. So when you sit there and go, that's nearly a terabyte of storage, or just 3/4 of a terabyte of storage. just to hold my catalog and the previews. So this is something to consider, your size. But for me, it's one-to-one. Smart previews. Smart previews are like I am here on a laptop. I can access my images and edit them and print and share anywhere in the world. So you might not, that might not be your workflow. Okay, you might not do that. So you would have it unticked. Okay, but I have it ticked. This box here is do not import duplicates. So I've got some there that are already been imported, but see they're grayed out. These ones have already been imported, but these ones haven't. Okay, so that's how it will check the metadata: file name, file date, GPS, aperture, shutter actuation number, serial number of the lens, serial number of the camera, file format, all this information from your EXIF data, because we haven't got IPTC data yet, we've only got EXIF data. It will look at that and compare it all from the catalog to the file. Okay, make second copy, add to a collection. We'll do that next week. Rename. So we looked at renaming on Wednesday, but rename the image. Does the file mean anything to you? Extension, you can change it to upper and lower case, whatever you wish to do. It's an aesthetically pleasing. Leave as is. I've always left it as is. Gives you an example of what the file name will look like. And then apply during import. You might have a preset. You might have a style of image, a developed style of image. You might only shoot in black and white. You might have a black and white style. You can select that here. Then we have metadata. So your contact details, that's IPTC, and we have keywords. And then we have destination, where it's going to go to. Okay. So that is a quick recap of last week. Anyone got any questions about that? No? Quite straightforward? Okay. Now, bear with me, please.
Can I ask one question?
Yes, David, go on.
You use one-to-one. I actually don't know what I use.
Preview.
I'll check. Yeah, on preview. Is standard smaller then?
Yeah.
On a normal computer, standard would
Yep.
make more sense.
Okay, so standard is the size of your screen. And this is a choice that you'll have to make if you've got an external monitor, which I know you have, David. You will have to choose, as a general statement, when you import, do you want the size of your big screen or do you want the size of your laptop? Because one is a 28-inch monitor and one is a 14-inch monitor. Therefore, the preview will be double the size physically, not quite in megabytes, but it will be bigger for your big screen. You can rebuild your previews. So in the library module, you go up to library and then down to previews, and you can rebuild them. So if you've got it as a small size, you can select them. You can select a few and rebuild them as a bigger size. Okay. So it's a decision you have to make. I can tell you how to do it and tell you why, but you have to choose. Do I want it for the size of my big monitor, or do I want it the size of my laptop? The difference will give you the visual difference when you start looking. If you size them for the small monitor, 14-inch laptop, and you look at it on your big monitor, when you go 100% fit or fill, it will be slightly pixelated. So the image will not be a brilliant, because you're stretching, you're making the picture double the size. It's like zooming in or etc. Yeah.
So it might take longer to import just because of
Yes, it will, because it's got to make a file twice the size. Okay. Anyone else? Any questions about that? Okay. So bear with me on this one. I suggest we identify where you want to get to. Okay. And the way that I try to explain things is working back. Okay, so how do you file your images? Do you file them in date? Do you file them in narrative? That's your choice. It's your decision. I always suggest, and I have done, and I've tried lots of different methods. I've tried the Scott Kelby method, and there's nothing wrong with it. I just could not get my head round it for every situation. And I've gone back to what Lightroom was originally set up for, was a chronological order, date and time. The reason why is, and this, we're talking about filing. Where do you put your knives and forks? That's filing. Okay, not how you use them. Okay, left-handed, right-handed with the soup knife, spoon, etc., and so on. We're not talking about that. We're talking about we've washed them up. We're going to put them away. How do you file them? And in my mentality, I file them in date and time. And the reason why I file them in date and time is because we are programmed from a child. Give you a scenario. We go to school Monday to Friday, 9 till 5. We go to work Monday to Friday, 9 till 5. It's something that we instantly understand. We go on holiday Friday. We finish work at lunchtime. We go on holiday and we come back on the following Sunday. It's a conditioned in us. So we haven't got to learn anything. With our filing system, we haven't got to learn anything. If we go out for the day, we take a few pictures with a camera, we take a few pictures with a phone, and they're of a narrative. So how do we keep them all together? And in my case, I take a few video, I take some audio. I put them all together into what I call unique identifier. And the unique identifier is date and time. I'm not interested in what the image, video, or audio file is of at this moment. I'm interested in where are they kept so I can go and find them. Okay, so I put them in year, month, and then date folders, so a hierarchical structure. Okay, so if I go to my folders, I've got the year, and then in this case, because this is my training catalog, I've just got the actual date of the shoot. But if I come down here to 2025, I've got the month 10 and I've got the date. Okay, so this was an image I took a few days ago, walking around the local town here. So all the images I took, for example, here's a load of images that I took on the 12th, 8 days ago, on Normandy Beach. Here they are, and they're all together. Now, if I go to the metadata, iPhone 17, 7.2. The camera is immaterial, but they're all together. Okay? Because the unique identifier is the date. Now, the great positive for this is if Lightroom fails, if your catalog becomes corrupted, if your computer, the drive in your computer, because I always say keep them on an external drive, if your computer fails or you replace your computer, you can come to your Finder. And if I just bring this across slightly, we can see images. You see this here, images, and there's images here. We can see the date. So if we come down to 2025, there's 2025. Oops, let's just go back. There's 2025. And there's 10. And there's the 3 folders. And we're looking at the 12th. And there is the 207 files. So if I wanted to change computer software, I haven't got to relearn a filing system. I've actually filed them. I've put them in a date structure. Okay. It's actually stored on my drive that's sitting here, this 4 terabyte SSD sitting here in that structure. And it's presented to me in that structure. So all the pictures that I took on this day when I walked out of this apartment with my colleagues, turned left, and we walked 6.5 miles along the coastline and doing audio and video recordings and still images and writing notes in our journal. They're all together, irrespective of what device I took them with. Okay? That makes sense? Now, you could, and there's nothing wrong with it, put them in a folder called Grand Camp Maisie Coastline. But this time next year, I could come here again and do exactly the same thing and create another folder of Grand Camp Maisie Coastline. And yeah, another time I could come and create another folder. And then where are they stored? Are they stored in a folder called Harbour? Are they stored in the folder called, the coastline, or pillboxes, or World War II, or conflict, or audio? So there's no right or wrong way of doing it. I just found filing them in narrative confusing because I couldn't find them later. I knew that I came to here on this date and they're all there. Everything's there. Okay? Have I explained that? Is that all right? Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. So you might ask yourself, well, how do you find them? How can I automatic find them? Well, that's about getting your importing process right and setting up smart collections. I'm going to do one of those tonight, but we're going to look more of that next week. Okay? So we know what keywords are, don't we? Yeah? Everyone knows what keywords are?
Yeah.
Heather? Yeah? A keyword is a tag. It's a label. It's something that you choose to recognize that is associated with an image, group of images, a video. So for me, a lot of the times I will use location and a single word narrative. So Normandy, Grand Camp Maisie, that's a keyword, and pillbox or Atlantic Wall. So I know it's in Normandy. I know it's where it is, Grand Maisie, and I know it's a pillbox. Okay? And I will apply those keywords on import. But the key thing is having a smart collection set up before, and that's a one-time action as well, by the way, a smart collection set up before you start importing. So this is where I'm coming back to, where do you want to get to? Okay. And a smart collection for importing is a one-time process. Okay, so I'm going to show you what for these images that I'm just looking at. Okay, so I'm going to go import, and I'm going to look at a narrative. Okay, so I'm going to tick the box. I've already imported. So I've got pillboxes. Okay, so I've got these pictures here, pillboxes. Okay, all right. So the first thing I'm going to check, and again, this is a one-time process, I'm going to look at my keywords. So let's get rid of this. Let's open up this. And I'm going to go to my keyword list. And what's great about the keyword list, I can type the word pillbox and see if it's already there. And I haven't got pillbox as a keyword. So I'm going to import some images of pillboxes. And again, this is a one-time action. Okay, so pillbox. and these were Portsmouth. I haven't got Portsmouth as a keyword. And in our keywording sessions, we will look at filing keywords. So got Portsmouth now. Okay. So I've got pillbox and I've got Portsmouth, location and the narrative. So I'm now going to come down to some collections. So I'm going to go to my training folder and I'll call it work in progress usually. And I'm going to create a smart collection. One time, Portsmouth. Okay, and I can click in here and I go to other metadata. Keyword contains, and we just have to wait a second. There it goes. Portsmouth. Okay.
You might want to change the name at the top.
Sorry?
Check the name at the top.
Here?
You're missing an S in there.
Oh, yes, sorry.
And on your keyword, you were as well, Mark.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I can show you then how to change that. Okay. Portsmouth.
Still wrong at the top, Mark.
Yeah, sorry there, S. Yeah. S in there. And oops. Portsmouth and Portsmouth. I need my glasses. Okay, so yeah, on my keyword. So I can double click on any keyword and put the S in there. Thank you for that. Right, so I've now updated the keyword. Portsmouth. I missed out the S, didn't I? There you go. There's the keyword. So if you've got a keyword, okay, and you've changed your keyword structure, okay, or you want to put birds, you double click on it, put S on the end, it's now changed all the images that had bird to birds. And I'm using that as an example. Okay. So Portsmouth is there. Okay. So I've got a smart collection called Portsmouth. Okay. And it's looking at the keyword. It can look at any metadata, any EXIF data. So it contains Portsmouth. Okay. So I've got no images in my catalog at this moment in time with the keyword of Portsmouth. Okay, so we go import and we go and select. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to uncheck all my images and I'm going to increase my thumbnails and I'm going to look through the images. So I want this one, this one, this one, this one, and I'm ticking the tick box. Okay, and I'm just going through them, right? And I'm just going to use those ones there. Okay, so these are the ones I'm going to import. It could be more, and you can click, shift click, and tick. Okay, so you can speed that up. So let's see if I can find some more. So it's not a pillbox. It's not defenses. That's not a pillbox. All of that. No, it's defenses. I've got some more further on, I'm sure I have. There we go. So there's one there. And we move on, and one there. So I've shift and click and tick the box. And they're now all going to be applied. So now I come through. What am I going to do with them? Okay. So renaming them, yes. Apply during import. Port. And it's looking up my keyword list. So there is the keyword, Portsmouth. Now pillbox. Okay. So I'm going to add, for this example and for the time that we have, the two keywords. Okay. I could add my metadata, my copyright information, my name, my email address, my postal address if I want it, my website address. This would apply all of that in here. So all this information here, and we'll look at that later. And then where am I going to put them? Okay. You get this slightly grayed out folder. Where this comes from is up this section here. And it's how you're going to import them. And it's date and time. Okay. Now, if you choose one of the top menus, you have a forward slash. And what that does, it creates a folder. The forward slash is the folder. Okay. But if we choose this one here, it was taken in this format, so 20th of the 10th, 2010. But if we actually look at the date itself, it tells you the date it was taken, which is the 17th of the 1st, 2025. So I want to put that in a folder of 01, because that's January's the 1st. And the reason why we use numbers, not letters, April in the alphabet comes before J for January. And Lightroom Classic, like most computers, goes from 0 to 9, sorry, from 1 to 9, then 0, and then goes A. So it'll go A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So it will not be in the chronological order. So we use numbers first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, 0, 4. And why don't we just put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Because 1, 1, it'll appear 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Because 1 comes first. Okay? So we've got it in 2025, sorry, 01, and it's going to put it in the date that I took. So all the images that I took on this day, it's going to create the folder if it's not already there, and I'm going to import them. Okay? So I'm just going to import that, and while that's doing that, I'm going to explain the reason why I put them in that folder now. Think about your car. Your car's got discs, pads, okay? And they are wear and tear items. So every time you hit your brake, I know it's slightly different for electric cars, two pads come together and sit on a disc and slow you down. It's wear and tear. Think about that as a hard drive in your computer. You've got this magnetic disc, most of us will have, goes round and round like this, and like an old record player, a needle goes across, reads the information. It lasts for, there's a gentleman here that knows exactly what I'm talking about. It lasts for a period of time, wear and tear. Okay, so a normal drive will probably last between 2 and 3 years. Okay, with an SSD, the new modern drives, they have what they call read-write limits. They've got thermal limits, how hot they get. And you can write so many times and you can read so many times until it wears out. The product burns. This drive I've got sitting here is quite warm because it's a very fast drive. There's a little computer chip in there and a larger piece for a RAM chip. So you have a read-write limit, okay, which is basically time. Now, if you put your images in the final resting place, I call it, you don't have to move them. You're not reading and writing. They've moved there. And it's large amount of data. So you're prolonging the life of either your mechanical disc spinning, the bearing and so on, the motor and the needle going across, because you're not having to access it. Bearing in mind, you only look at the raw file. You only look at that file when you're in the develop module. When you're in the preview module, you look at the smart or standard previews, which are kept by your catalog. Okay? So by putting them in the final resting place, thinking about how you're going to store them, you're prolonging the life of your drive. Right? Either by thermoconductivity, whatever all the words are. Jay might be able to help me out on that one. But the thermal usage of it, you've burnt it out basically, or the physical use of your drive spinning and the bearings and the motor and so on. Okay, so that's the reason why I put them in the final resting place. So let's hide that. So now we've got these prompts that come up. You can turn them off. I leave them switched on for this training. We've imported 30 images and we've made some smart previews. If I go to the folder structure, which only appears in the library module. If I go to any other module, you don't have the folder structure. Okay. And if we look at the 17th of the 1st, there's the images that we've imported. Okay. But if I go to the collection, find Portsmouth, there they all are there. Okay. Because they've been keyworded with the word Portsmouth. Okay. And there's some that's got the keyword of Hailing Island, that image there that I've already imported. Right. So some of these have got additional keywords in because they've already been imported. Okay, Hailing Island. All right. So I've automatically found images. So if I go back to start importing some more images, a different narrative. So let's come down. Let's say these ones here. So let's untick. And let's just take those. Anti-air gun. Okay, comma, ports. Now it's found Portsmouth in my list. Now the anti-aircraft gun, it's going to add to my keyword list. Now if I tick, I'm going to put them in the same position. Okay, which is here. All right. Import. Now, because they've got Portsmouth on there, they've gone into this smart collection because I put Portsmouth on the keyword. Okay, there's the image. Portsmouth is on the keyword. They've gone automatically into this smart collection. Now, if I wanted to, let's say I wanted to, and there's several ways of doing this, but I'm going to just show you one other way quickly. So if I wanted to, I could go right click, duplicate this smart collection, and I could put another keyword in here. So it contains keywords, put pillbox. Okay. And it would find pillboxes. Okay. So I've got 89 images in here, but these ones are Portsmouth and pillbox. So there's only 30 images there. Okay. So I've already managed my images by having this smart collection already set up before import. Now, let's say, and this is a narrative that I photograph a lot of. Okay. I've got in Portsmouth pillboxes 30,000 images. Okay. There are people here that photograph wildlife, and they will have lots of images from a location with the narrative on there. What we do is we come up to our filter bar. We don't need to create millions and millions of smart collections, and we're going to look at that next week. We can choose attributes. Attributes are our flags, our have we edited or have we exported? So have we exported them? Have we edited them? Have we rated them? Have we got a color label on them? So show me all my Portsmouth pillbox images that I've liked, I've picked. Let's turn the unflag off. There they are, immediately. Okay. And then I could even filter it down even further if I wish, by having metadata. So I could have both of them on. Okay. So show me my picked ones. And then I could say, show me the date. And I could have multitude of dates. I've only got one date in this instance, which is here, but I could have multitude of cameras. I could have multitude of lenses. As you can see there, one image disappeared. Four images have disappeared. Okay. So I can immediately identify by what I call a reference keyword, the place and the narrative. And this is looking in the whole of my catalog, wherever they're filed. I can be more specific and say, only look in this folder, only look in this collection. And once I've found that, if I want to share this, I can just create a collection, Portsmouth share, include the picture and sync it with the cloud. There is my single image. It's going to go to the cloud, and I can share that by making that collection public with a colleague, friend, or whatever. Okay. So understanding where you want to get to by creating a smart collection, applying the keywords or other metadata. You could use an IPTC, which we'll look at, a preset. So that could have a title, a description, location, any IPTC data. Okay, so let's give you a scenario. I used to do a lot of cricket photography, and before I left, I would get the team sheet for both teams, and I'd put all that in as keywords. Also the ground, the address. So I had all the keywords already. I'd have smart collections already. So when I went, my cameras were wireless at the time. I'd use the cricket ground Wi-Fi. Pictures were coming into my computer on a drive, and then when I'd select the pictures, and in the preset, it would already have the names of the cricketers, the address, who was Glamorgan versus Somerset, all that information that I'd have to type. It would already be there as a preset, and as I imported them, it applied the data. The only thing I'd have to change would be the description. So I'd go through the images and say, that one, that one, that one, that one. That one's Marcus Sissothic. That one's Alan Knott. Alan Knott caught Marcus at the pavilion end. Boom. That's it. Totally done. And it would then be shared with the agents, Alamy at the time, that would have been, or Getty. Okay. Everyone's gone quiet. But thinking about where you want to get to, identifying, because I know a couple of you what type of pictures you take, but grouping keywords together, narratives, locations. You don't have to put millions and millions of keywords. We're currently looking at you finding your images and finding them automatically. Okay. All right. So one thing we can create a collection, smart collection. Okay. And we're just going to call it date. Okay. So date 2025. Okay. So show me all the images that I captured in a date range. Right. 01 to 20 to the 10th. Okay. So in this computer, I took 424 images in this catalog. So 424, but only 2 of them are being shown because I've got these filters on. I'm looking in this smart collection and then say, right, January with this phone, I took these 2 images. So if I turn off, there's all my images that I took in 2025. You could narrow the range down. You could do whatever you want. You can add keywords. You can add locations, geolocations. You can add titles. You can add cameras. But we can filter them. Show me all the pictures I took in March. There's 2 images I took in March. There's the camera I took. I can change the drop down. Okay, different touch, different lenses. 60 images I took in April. I can expand the date, 13th. I can say, right, show me the keywords. These are the keywords of the images in my whole catalog that I took on the 13th of April. I took 43 images. And here's the keywords. Lightroom. This was for a Lightroom. Okay, Lightroom Monday. Taken in Scotland. There's keywords for Scotland. Okay. And you can set this up as smart collections. And it's your choice whether you have lots and lots of smart collections or just have hierarchical smart collections. So keywords for car. Okay. And then you filter them. So if you, a lot of times you look for an otter in the sunlight, because that's the relevance for you, an otter in the sunlight, you can have a smart collection, otter sunlight, and it will look for the keywords of otter and sunlight. And as you keep adding new pictures of otters and sunlight, you'll add it to that smart collection. And then you can pick and reject. Okay, so yes, I like that one. No, I don't like that one. And then filter it and just say, show me the ones that I like. Show me the ones that I took in this date range. Or you can get really, really high powered and say, show me all the ones of that were a birthday that include this person and this person that was taken in the last 10 years. And the person has come from the Face ID. And you can add 2 or 3 people. I'm looking for a picture on a cruise that I was in it, my husband was in it, and my mum came with us as well. Show me all the pictures of the 3 of us on a cruise. The cruise is the keyword, and the Face ID is taking the other 3. And it will search the whole of your catalog in seconds to find them. If we imported them or have applied the keywords or a tag that we can search on. Okay. So identify. Yes, David.
And I'm not playing devil's advocate, but
Yeah.
I don't use smart collections, and perhaps I should, but all I would do is just search on the keyword. So let's say otter. I put otter in on the right hand side as a keyword. There'd be an arrow on the side.
Yep.
I click the arrow, bang, all the pictures of otters would appear.
Yeah.
And then I can search on light.
Yeah.
And then I can search on a red or whatever.
Correct. Yeah.
Is that more work for the equipment? And is it because then at the end of the day, I don't have the record, and with your smart collection, it's still there?
Okay. So it's more work for you because you've got to go click, click, click. If you have a smart collection that is of those actions, you just go one click and it's there. And then you can filter down even more precise. So you've got a general smart collection of otters that you then go pick and you choose a date range. Now, if you're looking for otters that you took this year, I would have a smart collection for otters in the last year. So always as you go forward, as we go through, as we get older, it will reduce the it'll only show the images in the last year or the last week or the last month or whatever. So show me all the pictures of otters I've taken in the last month. Well, next month will be different to last month. Yeah.
You'd have a huge line of smart
That's the choice you need to make, is how far do you want to take this idea? I've got the general narrative. So I've got Pillbox's Somerset. And then I know the pillbox ID number. I'm sad. I know the pillbox ID number. So I will just then from the keyword, just select the pillbox and then just select pick. There's the images I'm looking for. I don't know. Are they different? Are there different types of otters? Like that, birds. There's different types of birds. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not educated that way, so I don't know if there's different types, different breeds of otter, or if you want to call it, different breeds of dog, different breeds of otter. I don't know. So male or female. So just I don't know. It's your choice. How far do you want to take your general importing of words, keywords with images, and understanding how you want to use them? Yeah. But my suggestion to you is to put them in a date structure. So, and you can quite easily, and I will spend a couple of minutes in a minute, show you how you can move from a narrative to a date structure if you so wish, or remove things around in your folders. I'll show you how to do that in a minute. But I don't, it's only the final image. So once I've edited it, got it ready, it's picked, it's green color labeled, it's ready to go on a website or whatever it is and so on, do I then put the additional keywords in? So I've got two stages. Importing, the information is for me to find them, because nobody else has got access to my catalog. I just need to know where they are and how I can easily find them. And for me, it's date and time, location, and a 1 or 2 word description of the image. Pillbox, Normandy coastline. Yeah, that's it, Bob. I know I got a collection, click on that, it shows me all my pillboxes from Normandy coastline, and then I will change the filter to go picked. I will put green color label on, which is me. I've edited it, I've keyworded it, I've put all the additional keywords in there. Okay, so it could be renovated, it could be dangerous, it could be lots of it. I put all those keywords in. It's a blue sky, it's low tide, covered in sand. All that, those are relevant to the final image for the viewing audience, which I will put those in when I write the description and title. Okay, those are additional keywords of the image, but I don't worry about any of those at time of import. Why? If I'm importing 1,500 images and I'm applying all those keywords, it's more work for the computer to do that I'm not going to. I might X reject a load of them and delete them. So it's additional work I have to do, or the computer has to do. So I'm reducing the workload and the time that I spend in doing it. So I import, I put them in their final resting place. I apply the keywords that I can find them. Before I import them, I think about the smart collection. Okay. If it's a narrative that I've already photographed and I've got a smart collection and I want to work on them on my mobile devices, I put them in a collection that's synced to the cloud, but we'll talk about that next week. Right. So let's hypothetically say, oh yeah, I understand what you're talking about. How can I change? How can I move to a database structure in my folder system? Okay. So go to our folders, and we need to be at the parent level folder. So the top of the tree of the folders. And how we find that out is we go right click on the top level folder. And if it says show parent, there's something above it. See, it's training, right click again, show parent, there's something above it. There's another folder above it, right? So there's a hierarchical structure. Now I don't want to see those all in here. So I go right click, oops, right click, hide parent, right click, hide parent. I only want to see at this level. I'm not worried about what's above it because it's nothing to do with Lightroom. Okay, so I'm in the highest point in the tree structure of all my images. Okay, so they're all listed here, all down here. Okay, all the folder structure. Now I want to move to a database system. Okay, whatever they are, have I misfiled them? Are they in the wrong place? And all we do is we go to metadata, we go to the first column, because the columns start left to right, and you can have up to 6 columns. If you want some more columns, just underneath the padlock by the histogram, there's a little hamburger menu. Click on there. You can add a column to the left or right, or you can remove columns. So if you only want 3, you can remove the column there. Okay. So first column, if we click underneath the word library filter, you see this says date. We can change any of these columns. And what it does, it asks questions. This is the first question in the first column. Then it will apply the second question you ask to the answer of the first question. So if you say, look at all the images I took in April, then say, show me the flags. I've got 60 unflagged images. Then show me, I've got 60 unflagged images with this lens. There's 43 images with that lens. Or with this lens, there is 17 images, or with a shutter speed, or with a focal length, or whatever. So taken at 14 millimeters. So here's all my unpicked images with 14 millimeters at 26. Could be a shutter speed. You're looking for a long exposure. Okay. So we're asking questions, but it's asking it in this order. So there's 30-second exposure, 25-second exposure, 20-second exposure. I'm capturing the water here. Okay, I'm playing with the neutral density filter. Okay, so I'm asking questions every time. So if we come back to here, so let's take these off, come back here. I want to find all my images that were taken on a particular date. So let's say 28, that's 2008, December the 28th. So the 28th of December 2008, you can see that? There were 63 images. Okay, select all, and I go to a folder. There we go, 28th of the 12th. I might need to create a folder. So let's say in 2008, I haven't got an 11. So we can go right click, create a folder, 11. Oops, 11. So it'll appear above. And I go right click, create a folder. And I'm going to demonstrate the action, but it's wrong. So I've created a folder, 2025, 2011, 28. So it's 11. These were taken on the 12th. It's just sort of to show you. Then I tick select, include all selected images. So I'm going to create a folder. Okay. And I'm going to include the selected images. But it will create the folder in this highlighted space. So the space is in the wrong place. So let's just copy that. Move to the 11th, and now it's going to create it in here. Okay, so we go back to here. We're going to go to the 11th, right click, create, paste the date that I had. So I could type that in there. All right, see that? So I'm looking here for these dates. There they all are. Select all. I'm now going to create a folder inside of November 11. So go to the 11, go right click, create folder inside 11. The name of the folder, include selected photos, create. It's now created a folder and moved all those images. Wherever they were inside this location, it's moved them to this folder. And now you just go through manually tidying them all up. Okay. Do you want me to show you that again? Yeah, we've got a couple of nods.
Definitely.
Yes, please.
And a couple of people, I could see a young lady's ears go. Right, okay, show you again. So what we're doing, I'll try and explain it a different way. What we're doing is we're asking questions. We're going to choose another date range here. Okay, so let's choose some. Here we go. All right, so I'm going to look, I'm peering in to all my images, which are all here. And we're going to go to, let's see, 17. I just want to find one with a few in there. There we go. So I'm saying in here, this folder, which is my top level folder, I've got 2,229 images. Show me, let's just expand this bit for you. Show me all the images that I took on 19th of June, 23rd of June, 2019. Okay, and there's the answer. right? They could be in lots of different locations. If you want to know where this image is stored, if you click on it, go right click, show in library folder. Okay, click that, and it will take you to the folder 2019-06-23. And that's where they all are. Okay, all 12 images. Okay, so let's go back. Show me 12 images. There they are. I've just selected a date. It can be any date. And you methodically, you'd start to perhaps go backwards or go forwards. You'd start at the beginning. So you'd go to the top and say, August and so on, and just slowly go through them all and find them all and move them. So we've got, look in this space for this date. There they all are. Okay. So where should they be? They should be in a folder. 2019. So we go 2019. There we go. And they should be in a folder 06. Well, there is no 06. Look, 08, 06. So the first thing I want to do is create a 06. So create a folder inside 2019, 06. And I will explain why we have a 06 in a minute. So I don't want to move anything. I just want to create a date folder or a month folder. There I go. So now I've got 12 images that were taken on the in this root folder. In every other folder, it's found 12 images that were taken on the 23rd of June 2019. So I come to the 6, I right click on the 06 and it says create a folder inside. So now I'm going to go 2019 06 23. These images are selected, include selected. So it's going to create a folder and it's going to move them all, and it's moved them from here and placed them into a folder here. Okay. Now, I'm sure there's some of you know why I put them in 01, 02, 03, 04, up to 12. But for those that don't know, could you have a hazard a guess why? Go on, John. You know why.
It's just the length of the list that you present yourself with if you go out every day taking photos.
That's it, exactly. Yeah. Okay, so how many days are in the year? 365 and a quarter. Yeah. So if you went out with your camera every single day, taking your dog for a walk, taking photographs, you'd have 365 days, 365 folders all the way down. And it would be a massive, very big list to scroll up and down. And you've got that for each year. So by putting them in a 01 to 12, you've got a shorter list. And then when you expand January, because you want to look in the folder structure for some reason, you've only got a maximum of 31 dates. So you're not taking up all your screen with all these dates, up and down, scrolling, etc. and so on. That's the reason why. So we put them in a year, we put them in a month, and we put them in the individual date in there. And that is the way I suggest we store our images in our folder structure. But then when we want to bring our images together into projects, albums, galleries, memories, stories, whatever we want to call them, we bring them into collections. Why? Because collections are automated. They're immediate one click and a filter, or 2 clicks. They work in every module, and a collection can be shared in the cloud. So you can have it on your mobile device. You can't do that with folders. In collections, you can have multiple versions of the same image. You can have the same image in multiple collections. So, for example, you've gone on holiday and you want to share some images of your holiday with your work colleagues. But you don't want them to see the one of your sexy partner on the beach. So you take that out of that collection. But the one with your families and your girlfriend or whatever, you don't mind them seeing that. You can put the other 11 images in there plus this one. So you've got 11 images in either or of the collections, but one you've taken out, or three you've taken out, or added 5 others. So you can have the same image in multiple collections. And when you start doing project photography like me, you'll have a smart collection. That's all the pictures for the project. So my Jimmy Savile project that I did, I had something like 4,500 images. I wanted one place that they all came together. There they all were. And all that was a smart collection inside a collection set, keyword Jimmy Savile. And then over time, because it was a 4-year project, I was picking and rejecting. Then I went, show me all the pick ones. So that went into a collection. So that took me down to a couple of hundred. And then I would then refine the pick and reject, and the smart collection would update as I refined them. And then I went to, right, that's my first set of final images. Let's edit them. So I edited them all, put them in another collection. Those are so my workflow, I'm going through in stages. And the reason why I do that is if I make a mistake or I change my mind or I go a different direction, I've got a history of what I've done. Just by drawing an underline, when we talk about snapshots in 1 week, snapshots are a great way of recording a particular point in your workflow of developing. And so I can sit there and go, change my mind. Don't like those images anymore. I can just go 1 click back. And bearing in mind, a collection does not take up any storage space. You're not making additional copies of your image. All it is a line in the database. Okay. So thinking about where you want to get to, identifying the subjects, the narratives, the stories, the people and so on, and keywording them on import, having smart collections, putting them in a date structure will speed up your time in digital asset management, we call it, finding your images. It is something that you'll refine, you'll learn. I am changing mine every day. It's right, I've mastered that. I understand that in my mind. I understand the computer knows exactly what it's doing. I know what it's doing, knows what I'm doing, and so on. And then I'll learn something, or something will change, or I'll add something to my workflow, or the narrative will change, and I'll slightly tweak, modify my workflow. I'm flexible in what I do, and my whole working environment is right. This is my core structure. How can I make it faster? How can I make it smarter? How can I make it quicker? Because I don't want to be sitting here at my computer doing all this. I want to be out there taking pictures, enjoying the world, enjoying what I'm doing. And this is my servant. I'm not a servant to it. Okay. So asking yourself questions, where do you want to get to? What do I photograph? How can I keyword it? How can I find it? By using smart collections, by putting keywords on, by setting them up first, speeds up your workflow. Okay. Did that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So next week when we do collections, and I'll introduce you to sharing your collection next week, and then the week after we'll look at it on the device and with other people and so on, how we can import, which we've just done, add the keyword, using the collection, showing you all the EXIF data, okay, showing you all the data that comes from the camera in conjunction with GPS. So we're going to look at the map module, okay? So I'm going to do the GPX, which I showed you last week. I'm going to show you on the map module about drawing a circle. Show me all the pictures that I took in that geographical area. So I showed somebody today, did you know that if you knew where you took a picture and you haven't got the GPS data, you can manually tag it? So let me show you. Let me find an image. Okay, so I'm going to go up to date here and I'm going to go, let me just see if I can find it. GPS data, no coordinates. So these images have got no GPS data on them, okay? So let's see if I can find, we're trying to find, here we go. So I know exactly where these images were taken, okay? These ones here, all right? So I've got them highlighted and they're in my film strip at the bottom. I go to the map module and then, this is where I am here at the moment. I go to where they were taken. I'll zoom in. I'm just scrolling them on my mouse. And they would say, I was actually standing here. There's the turntable. I was standing here. Just click, hold, drag, and drop. And that's it. And they're now got the GPS on. And they've actually, can you see they've disappeared? And the reason why they disappeared is because they've now got GPS data on them. Okay, there they are. So now if I go back to the map, there's 34 images that I took there. And I can scroll through the 34 images that I took. Okay, so all you do is you drag them onto the map. You click, you select, you click, you hold. Let me find some more for you. All right, so let's go back to the other train ones. There you go. So these ones here, right, I know exactly where they were taken. So let's scroll out. There's the railway line. They were taken, should be a gate just there, I think. So you take the there, drop them onto, I take it, there you go, drop them there. Okay, and they've disappeared because they've now got GPS coordinates. And these ones, I know exactly where these ones are taken. So I'll go to the map module, scroll out, and goes here. And they were taken roughly, no, they were taken a bit further up. That's it, there's the road. Yeah, they were taken just there. So just take them, drag them, and drop them there. Okay. So that's how you can manually add the data. Now, doing that means you can search on that. So with the keyword, the king, 6024, that's the name of the number of the steam engine of the last ones I just tagged. Show me on the map all the images that are of that steam engine in that location. And you can draw a circle. You can have that as a smart collection. So for David and his otters in Mull, there might be a particular location that David likes. Okay. You can draw, if you've got GPS, which some cameras have GPS built in, so it's already got the GPS, you can draw on the map and say, show me the location there of all the images of otters. One click, show them. And as David takes more pictures of otters in that location, he'll add it automatically. You don't do a thing because the GPS is in the it's in the EXIF data. You're applying the keyword of otter. Lightroom says, oh, there's some more there that meets that criteria. You click on it and they add it into it. And if you've picked and rejected them, you can just hit the pick button. There they are. If you've edited them, pick and click the edit button. There's all the images that I took in that geographic location of an otter that I've picked and I've edited it. There's all the images. You found them like that. Anyway, enough of me rabbiting. I've been going on for over an hour and a quarter now. Anyone, any questions about that? Do you want me to show you anything else?
I've got two questions,
Yes,
Mark.
Paul.
Yeah. Can you see smart collections on your iPhone?
Nope.
You can't.
Not smart. So not next week, the week after, when we go on to devices, smart collect. I'm being precise in my words. Smart collections from Classic do not go to the cloud.
Right.
There is a different search parameter, and we'll look at that in 2 weeks' time. But I'll tell you quickly, when it's in the cloud, Lightroom, Adobe looks at all your images for you. So if you go to Lightroom on your phone and type in red car, it will show you all the pictures of a red car, and you can save that search. Okay. And as you add red cars to your cloud infrastructure, it'll put it in that search, but it's not a true smart collection. Okay. If you type Niagara Falls, because I know a couple of people here have been to Niagara Falls, all the pictures that are in the cloud of Niagara Falls will be returned. You can save that search as a smart, and as you add to images of Niagara Falls to your cloud infrastructure, even as a smart preview, it'll add it to that for smart collection for different words. But yeah, no, you can't. You can only save collections. The way that I do it, I use smart collections to give me the answer, what I'm looking for. Then I duplicate the smart collection as a collection, then put it in the cloud. The difference between the two is the collection is a static object at that moment in time. I have to manually add something to it. It doesn't do it automatically like a smart collection. Your second question?
Yeah, the other question, and we haven't really discussed it, but I'm interested what you do with when you've exported your DNGs or your RAW files, where do you save them?
Okay, so the principle of exporting is to give the image to somebody in a format they can use it.
Yeah.
And its ingredients, you're creating the meal on a plate. So it takes the raw file, it looks at your catalog, takes the instructions, the ingredients of editing, it takes the IPTC data, it could take a watermark, it could remove certain data, however you've done it in the export module, however you've set a preset if you want, and it makes a final image, which we would normally call a JPEG or PNG, but it can create TIFF, it can create the original file format or a DNG or whatever. For me, because I've got those ingredients, I can keep reproducing more and more JPEGs, different sizes at different times. So I have got on my desktop, I think I have it on this one as well. No, I haven't, but I have a folder called export. And then inside that folder, I will have particular things. So it could be 2000 pixels. It could be, to FTP. Could be going to a website, whatever it is. And I put them in that particular folder. And then once I've finished that action, whatever it is I'm going to do with it, I delete them. Because I can regenerate them again. Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. That's brilliant. Thanks.
Yeah. So that's what I do. There's no right or wrong way. People like to keep the JPEGs because they might need them in the future. Well, why don't you just regenerate them? You're creating more space storage requirements. That's my theory anyway, but there's no right and wrong answer. Yes, Jay, you had your hand up.
Yeah, I'm in the process of I have a folder that's just a big pile of pictures, and I'm in the process of creating them by date. And I come across an unusual circumstance. I'll have in this folder um, uh, what's it called when you make a copy of it?
Virtual copy.
A virtual copy. I've noticed that I will very rarely, but will come up with 3 or 4 virtual copies in that folder, but not the originals.
Yeah.
I did a show and finder, and that virtual copy is there, points me to the original
Yeah.
virtual. But if I remove it, it'll remove the copy, and you can't copy virtual images. So I couldn't copy it. How did that come to be that it wasn't right next to the original copy?
Well, Smart Preview, it could have been taken. The original raw file has been deleted, but you've had a Smart Preview, so the Smart Preview is still in the catalog. That's one way. The virtual copy. So let's go back a few steps. For those that don't know, if you work in what I call a single image application like Photoshop, and you want multiple styles, so you want a color one, you want a saturated, vivid color one, you want a sepia one, you want a black and white one, you have to create different files. Okay, so versions, whatever you want to call it. So you go file, save as, there's a saturated one, then you go back to the original, make that black and white, file, save as, you might call it underscore BW at the end, and then you go next one and go VC or V for vivid or whatever, and you've got 4 files, all of 25, 30 megabytes each. Well, with Classic and Lightroom, you can create a thing called virtual copies. And because Classic is a catalog system, it's the way I describe it, it's like tracing paper. It's non-destructive. You've got the original image, the original file, which Classic doesn't touch. Okay. When you do your edits, you're putting it on a piece of tracing paper over the top. And that's what you're editing. It's a line in your catalog. So, and it presents over the top. So you're looking at the edits over the top of the original file. Okay? That's your first version. But you might want to create a second version. So you right click, create a virtual copy, and it will say copy 1 in the corner. That's another piece of tracing paper at the point of creating the virtual copy on top of the image. And now you might take that black and white. All it is a line in the database. So you might have 6 copies, 6 different styles, but it's one image, one file image. Let me be precise there. Okay. You've got 6 lines in the database of information that you've made the highlights brighter, you've opened up the shadows, you've put some contrast here. That line of database to the virtual copy. So you've got different stylization, but you've only got one file, and it's different pieces of tracing paper over the original file. And it's you're changing the tracing paper, and that's called virtual copies. They reference one file. So if I show you, and I'll get back to Jay's point in a second. So we take this image here, okay, it's a DNG file. I'm going to type it into develop module, right? And I'm not going to do any edits to it. I'm going to go right click, create a virtual copy. Now if I press I, see it says copy 1. Okay, if I look in the film strip, I've got a little turnover on it. If I go back to the original, right click, copy 2. Now if I go to copy 1, into this one, and I'll make it black and white. Here's my color one, and I could make it really saturated. Okay, but there's my original. So now, pressing N, I got my 3 copies. There's my original, there's my saturated, there's my black and white. If I go to my original, which is this one here, right click, show in Finder, there's the original file. But if you look by the side of it, I've got no other files. In Photoshop, I would have 49_1, 49_2, 49, and this is a 15 megabyte file. So in 3 files, I've created 50 megabytes. Okay, 45 megabytes. Using virtual copies, I don't. I've only got 1 file with 2 reference files. Okay, and that's what Jay's talking about. Now, what Jay's talking about is this is missing. If I correct in what I'm saying, Jay, this is missing.
Correct.
You've just got 2 virtual copies.
Correct.
Are you looking in folders or are you looking in collections?
Folders.
Okay, yeah, because you can have virtual copies in different collections. Usually, the virtual copy will sit by the side of the original file, as in that demonstration. So I would say it may have been a smart preview and somehow you've lost the original file, or it could have been moved outside of Classic and the file is missing. Yeah.
Yes. What's strange is when I go to look in Finder, I do see a -2, the same file name, but a -2. We're talking about a file in like 2014,
Okay.
coming in from my phone in 2014. My workaround was, even though the virtual copy didn't show the original, if I export it, it exports the original.
Okay.
So I export the virtual to where the folder in time that I want it to be, and then I import it into that folder. That's my workaround.
Okay. So from what you've told me and what I've understood, I would click on that folder, right click, synchronize the folder. What that does is it says, hey, Classic, hey, Finder, we're both the same. Okay.
Where do you do this? Click on synchronize.
So go to your folder, the folder the
Yeah.
date, the image is in, that
Right.
-2 is in with the virtual copies.
Yeah.
Highlight the folder, right click, and in the drop down it says sync folder.
Okay, I'll try that the next
Yeah.
time I come up
And
with one.
what that does is Classic looks at the drive and says, what's there? Have I got everything that's there, or is there something that's missing? And I always tick the box to show me the import dialog, because then it then says, do I want to remove things that are missing? No, I don't, just in case. Do I want to update metadata? So it reads the data of files, will update it in Classic. Do I want to remove them from published services or the web module if it's going to remove the image? So you could have uploaded it to a website, yeah, and accidentally deleted it. And now it's saying, hang on, it's no longer there where I thought it was going to be. Do you want me to remove it from the website as well? And the answer is no.
Right.
So syncing makes everything the same. What's there and what is in Classic.
Okay, I think it did break a sync. I think next time when I come across this, I'll try the syncing.
Yeah, we'll just put you 20 minutes and we'll sort that out.
Right. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Any questions? God, is that the time? Oh no, I'm an hour ahead, aren't I? So I thought it was coming up at 10 o'clock. I'm an hour ahead, so it's only 8:30 with you. There we go. Anyone, any questions? No? What I've shown you tonight is my workflow. It's not a right workflow. It's not a wrong one. It's there to provoke you. If I could count the amount of hours that I've sat in front of a classic, I'm in them every day. I've learned, where do I want to get to? How can I get there quickly? And then how can I find it? And then when I've found what I'm looking for, what I want to edit, what I want to sell, what I want to put on a website, what I want to share on social media, what I want to share with friends and family, I put the appropriate information, the title, the headline, the description, the keywords. I put that in there. I do the edit and I mark it as green, which means it's finished. It's go, green for go, which means it can be shared. It can do anything I want with. So I've got a workflow that I can type the keyword France, show me my green images. There's all my green images. There's all my pictures from France that are ready to be shared. I can type Disneyland Paris, my daughter's name, green color label, and there's all the pictures that I've ever taken in 24 years of going to Disneyland Paris with her that have been keyworded, have been titled, have been headlined, have been descriptioned, and they're all ready to share. So when Christmas comes round and grandparents want a new montage of pictures from there, I can just go one click, there they all are. Because I've thought about where I want to get to, what tools I want to use or could use, or how could I use them to get there. And sometimes the tool that Adobe has put out wasn't designed for that. Never thought it could be used that way. Well, that's an interesting way of using it. Yeah, because I've learned the tool and thought about the tool. Yeah, and how my mind works is different to how other people's work, if it works at all sometimes. Right. Anyone, any questions about Lightroom? Want to help with anything before we call it a night? No? Okay. Lovely to see you. What are we doing Wednesday? Can't remember now. It'll come to me. But anyway, Wednesday we got. Oh no, Wednesday. Yes, Wednesday. This Wednesday. I'm on the night ferry from Weestrum, Calm, to Portsmouth, and I wasn't going to do anything, but I decided, because we're testing all this technology for all the things that we're doing next year. As I said last week, we're off to Malta for nearly a month, and we're going to do real life, real travel with our phone, with our camera on holiday. So when we come back home, we don't have to do all this work. We've taken a photograph of this on holiday. We've put in the appropriate keyword. We've put the name of the person or the sculpture on our phone with our camera, with our iPad. I'm going to do this in Malta. So this is why, we've been testing my mobile router that I bought and the technology and so on over the last week. So I thought Wednesday I would test laptop without power, so battery. I would test my routers that have got battery. So for half an hour on Wednesday, 7 o'clock, I will be in the ferry terminal at Weestrum, which is the port of Calm. Totally no cables, nothing connected anywhere, and subject to having mobile coverage with internet access, which I should do because I've been in the terminal a couple of times over the last few trips. There is 5G in there, etc. We should be able to do a half an hour Q&A Zoom on Wednesday night. So another little test of the technology, making sure it works. So if you'd like to come and join and ask a question, it's only for members. It's not on Eventbrite or anything like that. So if you want to drop in and got a question for half an hour or so, happy to help, and you'll be helping me with the technology. So let's see if it works. All right. So you'll get a Zoom. You'll get an email from me with the Zoom link on it. I think you may have already had one. with the Zoom link on it, etc. All right. No
Brilliant.
questions? No. Okay then. Bye everyone.
Cheers, Mark.
Enjoy yourself.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.